Alright, we're back. Chapter 4 The All. Under and back of the universe of time, space, and change is ever to be found the substantial reality, the fundamental truth. The Kybalion. Substance mean that which underlie all outward manifestation, the essence, the essential reality, the thing in itself, etc. Substantial mean actually existing, being the essential element, being real, etc. Reality mean the state of being real, true, enduring, valid, fixed, permanent, actual, etc. Under and beyond all outward appearance of manifestation, there must always be a substantial reality. This is the law. Men, considering the universe, of which is a unit, see nothing but change in matter, forces, and mental state. He see that nothing really is, but that everything is becoming and changing. Nothing stands, still everything is being born, growing, dying. The very instant a thing reached its height, it began to decline. The law of rhythm is in constant operation. There is no reality, enduring quality, fixity, or substantiality in anything. Nothing is permanent, but change. You see all things evolving from other thing and resolving into other thing. A constant action and reaction, inflow and outflow, building up and tearing down, creation and destruction, birth, growth, and death. Nothing endure but change. And if he be a thinking man, he realizes that all of these changing things must be but outward appearance or manifestation of some underlying power, some substantial reality. All thinkers in all land and in all time have assumed the necessity for postulating the existence of this substantial reality. All philosophy worthy of the name have been based upon this thought. Men have given to this substantial reality many names. Some have called it by the term of deity, under many titles. Others have called it the infinite and eternal energy. Others have tried to call it matter, but all have acknowledged its existence. It is self-evident. It needs no argument. In this lesson, we have followed the example of some of the world's greatest thinkers, both ancient and modern, the Hermetic masters, and have called this underlying power, this substantial reality, by the Hermetic name of the All, which term we consider the most comprehensive of the many terms applied by men to that which transcend name and term. We accept and teach the view of the great Hermetic thinker of all time, as well as those illuminated souls who have reached higher plane of being, both of whom have asserted that the inner nature of the all is unknowable. This must be so, for not by the all itself can be comprehend its own nature and being. The Hermetists believe and teach that the all in itself is and must ever be unknowable. They regard all the theory, guesses, and speculation of the theologian and metaphysician regarding the inner nature of the all as but the childish effort of modern mind to grasp the secret of the infinite. Such effort have always failed and will always fail from the very nature of the task. One pursuing such inquiry travels around and around in the labyrinth of thought, until he is lost to all same reasoning, action, or conduct, and is utterly unfitted from the work of life. He is like the squirrel which frightfully runs around and around the circle treadmill wheel of this cage, traveling and ever and yet reaching nowhere. At the end, a prisoner still and standing just where he started. And still more presumptuous are those who attempt to ascribe to the all the personality, quality, property, characteristic, and attribute of themselves, ascribing to all the human emotion, feeling, and characteristic, and even down to the pettiest quality of mankind, such as jealousy, susceptibility to flattery and praise, desire for offering and worship, and all the other survival from the day of the childhood of the race. Such ideas are not worthy of grown men and women and are rapidly being discarded. At this point, it may be proper for me to state that we make a distinction between religion and theology, between philosophy and metaphysics. Religion to us means that intuitional realization of the existence of the all and one relationship to it, while theology being the attempt of a man to ascribe personality, quality, and characteristic to it. Their theory regarding its affair, will, desire, plan, and design, and their assumption of the office of middleman between the all and the people. Philosophy to us means the inquiry after knowledge of things knowable and thinkable, while metaphysics means the attempt to carry the inquiry over and beyond the boundary, and to region unknowable and unthinkable, and with the same tendency as that of theology. And consequently, both religion and philosophy mean to us having roots in reality, while theology and metaphysics seems like broken reed, rooted in quicksand of ignorance and affording naught but the most insecure support for the mind or soul of man. We do not insist upon our students accepting this definition. We mention them merely to show our position. At any rate, you shall hear very little about theology and metaphysics in this lesson. But while the essential nature of the all is unknowable, there are certain truths connected with its existence which the human mind finds itself compelled to accept, and an examination of this report form a proper subject of inquiry, particularly as they agree with the report of the illuminated on higher plane. And to inquiry, we now invite you. And here the quotes: that which is the fundamental truth, the substantial reality, is beyond true naming, but the wise men call it the all. The Kybalion. In its essence, the all is unknowable. The Kybalion. But the report of reason must be hospitality, receive and treat with respect. The Kybalion. The human reason, whose report we must accept so long as we think at all, inform us as follow regarding the all, and that without attempting to remove the veil of unknowable. 1. The all must be all that really is. There can be nothing existing outside of the all, else the all would not be the whole. 2. The all must be infinite, for there is nothing else to define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict the all. It must be infinite in time or eternal. It must have always continuously existed, for there is nothing else to have ever created it. And something can never evolve from nothing, and if it had never not been, even for a moment, it will not be now. It must continuously exist forever, for there is nothing to destroy it, and it can never be not be. Even for the moment, because something can never become nothing. It must be infinite in space. It must be everywhere, for there is no place outside of the whole. It cannot be otherwise than continuous in space, without break, cessation, separation, or interruption, for there is nothing to break, separate, or interrupt its continuity, and nothing which fill in the gap. It must be infinite in power or absolute, for there is nothing to limit, restrict, restrain, confine, disturb, or condition it. It is subject to no other power, for there is no other power. Very powerful. 3. The all must be immutable, or not subject to change in its real nature, for there is nothing to work change upon it, nothing into which it could change, nor for which it could have changed. It cannot be added to nor subtracted form, increase nor diminish, nor become greater or lesser in any respect whatsoever. It must have always been, and must always remain just what is now. The all. There has never been, is not now, and never will be anything else into which it can change. The all being infinite, absolute, eternal, and unchangeable, must be followed that anything finite, changeable, fleeting, and conditioned cannot be the all. And as there is nothing outside of the whole in reality, then any and all such finite thing must be as nothing in reality. Now, do not become before you, for frightened. We are not trying to lead you into Christian Science, field undercover Hermetic philosophy. There is a reconciliation of apparently contradictory state of affairs. Be patient, we will reach it in time. We see around us that which is called matter, which forms the physical foundation for all form, is the all. Merely matter? Not at all. Matter cannot manifest life or mind, and life and mind are manifest in the universe. The all cannot be matter, for nothing rises higher than its own source. Nothing is ever manifest in an effect that is not in cause. Nothing is evolved and consequent that is not involved as an antecedent. And then modern science informs us that there is really no such thing as matter. That what we call matter is merely interrupt energy or forces, that is energy or force at low rate of vibration. As a recent writer has said, matter has melted into mystery. Even material science has abandoned the theory of matter and now rests on the basis of energy. Then, is the all mere energy or forces? Not energy or forces as the materialists use the term. For their energy and force are blind, mechanical things, devoid of life or mind. Life and mind can never evolve from blind energy or force. For the reason given a moment ago, nothing can rise higher than its source. Nothing is evolved unless it is involved. Nothing manifests in the effect unless it is in the cause. I repeat, nothing can rise higher than its source. Nothing is evolved unless it is involved. Nothing manifests in the effect unless it is the cause. And so the all cannot be mere energy or forces. For if it were, then there would not be such thing as life and mind in existence. And we know better than that. For we are alive and using mind to consider this very question, and so are those who claim that energy or force is everything. What is there then higher than matter or energy that we know to be existent in this universe? Well, life and mind. Life and mind in all their varying degree of unfoldment. Then you ask, do you mean to tell us that the all is life and mind? Yes and no, is your answer. If you mean life and mind as we, poor petty mortal, know them, we say no. The all is not that. But what kind of life and mind do you mean, you ask? The answer is living mind, as far above that which mortal know by those words, as life and mind are higher than mechanical forces or matter, infinite living mind, as compared to finite life and mind. We mean that which the illuminated soul mean when they reverently pronounce the word spirit. The all is infinite living mind. The illuminate call it spirit.